Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I appreciate you watching my videos. Recently I had a request to do a video on bad dreams when you're dealing with post-traumatic stress. It was a request one of my followers gave to me. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So, as those of you know that have post-traumatic stress, you're most likely having nightmares, bad dreams. I had them when I had post-traumatic stress. The bad dreams, it started out as bad dreams, and then it led to flashbacks and panic attacks. And the panic attacks got so bad that at 26 years old, I wouldn't leave my house ever. I even ordered my groceries online. So the bad dreams is sort of a precursor to those things that can and most likely will happen to you the longer that you don't deal with your issues. So, and some of you may be already having bad dreams and panic attacks, at the same time. It just depends. It's different for everybody. But generally speaking, everybody that has post-traumatic stress or experience some type of trauma goes through the nightmares and then goes through panic attacks and things like that. So, in order to deal with those things and to heal in natural ways, we have to ask ourselves the question, why am I having these nightmares? What's causing them? And that's really with any of this how you begin to heal, is you have to figure out why it's happening and understand why it's happening. And once you achieve that understanding, then it begins to get easier to deal with your issues, okay? Whatever they are. You may have one, you may have several. Like with me, I ignored my post-traumatic stress for 20 years. And so I had numerous problems that I had to deal with. And I had to deal with them one at a time. You can't deal with them all at once. Like the old saying goes, Rome wasn't built in a day. Okay, and it takes time, so you got to give yourself that. You have to give yourself time. You got to kind of think of healing as like an onion. I've said this before. I say it on my radio show. I say it on YouTube. You got to think of healing as an onion, right? Your original trauma started out as a little green scallion, right? And the longer that you don't deal with your trauma, it grows and grows and grows and grows and grows and grows in layers till you get this nice big onion, right? So when you want to heal from post-traumatic stress and trauma, then you have to go about it the same way, layer by layer. Peel off one layer, it exposes another issue. You deal with that, peel off another layer. So you finally get back down to the core and heal that initial trauma or event that caused all this, and then you're healed. Okay. So back to the question: why are we having nightmares? Well, it's a relatively simple explanation, simple reason in the scheme of things. Your brain is doing two things. One, your brain is sort of acting like a pressure release valve. Okay, so your initial traumatic event caused some emotional problems inside you. Okay, and so when you don't deal with them, or you don't deal with your trauma, the pressure begins to build inside you. Okay, and so your brain is sort of acting like a little pressure release valve to let a little bit of that out to give yourself some relief. Number two, and more importantly, what your brain is doing is telling you, hey, it's trying to wake you up. Hey, we have a problem here that we need to deal with, and if we don't deal with it, it's gonna explode on us, more or less. So kind of think of your body as a Coke can. Okay, so just imagine this red marker here is a Coke can, right? And the Coke inside of the can is the inside of your body. Okay, and so you have a traumatic event, right? And it causes some emotional problems with inside your body. So you don't deal with it. When you don't deal with it, it's equivalent to shaking that Coke can up like this. Okay, and what happens when you shake this Coke can up like this? And you don't release the pressure. The pressure builds and builds and builds until finally the top explodes off, right? And then everything comes out at once. And that's not a good or a pleasant thing to have happen to you. I know because that's what happened to me. And I talk about it in my book here, A Line in the Sand. It's in the beginning of my book when I'm discussing, my experiences in the first Gulf War as a Marine. And I finally got done writing the book, and basically everything came out in this book, and I felt like a Coke can that had just exploded. And I talk about that in the beginning of the book. So now that we sort of understand what's going on, because we're not dealing with our emotions that we've accumulated because of our trauma. Now we need to know, how do we deal with it? How do we solve this problem? So, like I said, it's all about releasing pressure. Okay, you think of it like pressure, just like the Coke can analogy I just gave you. All right, and what you want to do is, start letting it out, start processing it. Your brain's trying to tell you you've got to process this information because you're not doing it, and you've probably learned to sort of just hold it in and not deal with it because whether if you're a man, you got to be a man. You can't have problems. You just ignore it, right? Just like me being a Marine, right? Big bad Marine. I'm not allowed to have problems. I just gotta, like they always told us, suck it up. That works in combat, but then once you get home, or once your traumatic event is over, it doesn't work anymore because now you have something that you have to deal with. Okay. So basically, what I'm telling you is this: how we all deal with these issues, these problems, is what society taught us, or our parents taught us, or both. Okay. So, what you have to do is you have to find healthy, constructive ways to release that pressure within you, to release that emotion, because basically what you have are emotionally charged memories. Those emotionally charged memories then control you and your life. They take you over. Okay. So what we have to do is, because you're never going to get rid of the memories. Your brain is amazing; it remembers everything. So what we have to do is get rid of the emotion part of the memory. In other words, we turn our emotionally charged memories into just memories which no longer control you. And it can be done, I know, because I did it after suffering for 20 years. So, and we do this in healthy, natural ways. We don't do it with drugs and alcohol or any of those sorts of things. I had a doctor that I went to. One of the good things that this doctor actually taught me and suggested this to me. Because like I said, I had numerous things that I had to deal with. And so this doctor posed the question to me and said, because I was worried about what happened to me in the past. And I was also worried about what's going to happen to me in the future with the state of things and what was going on. So she said to me, what happens to today if we have 1 foot in the past and 1 foot in the present? I said, I don't know. She said basically that you pee all over today. In other words, you waste the moment, because all we really have is right here and now in the present. So we have to make the best of it. So she gave me an exercise to do. She told me to go home and write down all the people and all the things that have caused me pain in my life. And then she wanted me to go through each one of those and sort of let myself feel what they made me feel. So sort of in a way, sort of letting it out. And then when I was supposed to go back the following week, we would discuss it. So I've always been sort of kind of good at writing ever since I was a little kid, and that's a lot of times how I dealt, even as a kid, how I dealt with my emotions. So I went home, I made a list of all these people that hurt me and all these things that hurt me. And I went through each one and let myself feel the feelings that those specific people or events made me feel. And I did it. I had like 10, 15 things on there. I did it all in one day. I don't recommend you do that. That's just the way I am, so that's the way I did it. You can take them one at a time, because I went through an emotional roller coaster and it physically made me sick. So, but that was the result of having all that stuff pent up inside me. Eventually you got to let it out, because if you don't do that, like I said, you more or less explode. So I let myself feel that. Then the next day I got up and I wrote a letter to each person and each thing on that list. and I let everything out. I said whatever I wanted to say. I even invented new words and everything. I just let it all out. And at the end of the letter, I wrote, I now release you from my life, and I'm moving on without you. Goodbye. Then I took each one of those letters and I went to the trash can and I crumbled each letter up in my hand and I threw it in the trash can. When I threw it in the trash can, I repeated the phrase, I release you from my life and I'm moving on without you. Then I took that bag out of the trash can, tied it up, and I went outside to the dumpster. I threw it in the dumpster and I repeated the phrase, I release you from my life and I am moving on without you. Goodbye. And you know what? That was probably one of the best things I've ever done in my life. It felt like somebody lifted 10 elephants off my chest. And so what I did was, I started releasing those negative emotions, those controlling emotions, in healthy, constructive ways, and I allowed myself to deal with it. I processed it. So in other words, I got rid of it. Right? It's like putting all that emotion and negativity into the garbage disposal, grinding it up, and washing it down the sink, down the drain with water, and it goes out into the sewer and it's gone forever. It's basically what you're doing. Okay? Now you can use, that was just my way of doing it, okay, because I'm a writer. And that eventually blossomed into a whole new career for me. Now I'm a full-time author. You know, I've written 3 books. I'm working on a 4th. And I have my own radio show and all those things. All that came out of this, that little simple process. So what I always tell people, in order to process your negative emotions, is you have to find your passion. Okay, whatever that is, whether it's writing, whether it's singing, whether it's playing the guitar, whether it's painting, drawing, you know, whatever your passion is, use that to release this negativity in healthy, constructive ways. Okay, always remember, I always tell people that your passion is the vehicle that takes you from pain to peace. I'll repeat it. Your passion is the vehicle which takes you from pain to peace. In other words, that's how you get rid of your negativity through that. Okay? And then nice things come out of that, because then you end up inspiring people and helping them out, making them happy, and then they pass it along, and then that grows and grows and grows, okay? Which is a really good thing. So, I talk about passion in my book here, The Sword and the Anvil, a definitive guide to healthy natural healing from post-traumatic stress and trauma. So, if you want to learn more about this, you can go to my website, got it right here, www.robertsiraki.com. The last name Siraki, spelled S-E-R-O-C-K-I. And passion, finding your passion, is one of the 13 steps in my 13-step foundation to healing, which I describe in this book here. And so I'm just going to read you right out of the book, the first paragraph of the section that I talk about finding your passion. And finding your passion is step number 8 in my 13-step foundation. Okay, step number 8, find your passion. By now you're probably pretty sick of hearing me say find your passion. The reason I say this is because this is probably one of the most important things you can do, not only to heal your post-traumatic stress, but to have a wonderful, great, rewarding, successful life. It's a real simple concept. Just do what makes you happy. As I already mentioned to you, for me it's writing. When I do this, I am happy and completely focused. When I am doing this, when I'm doing my writing, I forget about my problems. The world 5 inches from my face and beyond is non-existent for me. In other words, your passion will do several things for you, such as bring you joy, help you to escape, find peace, release your emotions, and to accomplish all of the things that your heart desires. All right? Step number 8, find your passion. And so for each step I have an acronym. So step number 8, find your passion. So the acronym is PASSION. So I've written it on the board here for you so you can follow along. P stands for positive. Activities, serving spirit. Inspiration orchestrated naturally. Alright? And so basically, this is how we begin to deal with our nightmares or our bad dreams when we're going through post-traumatic stress. And if you want to find out more about dreams and things like that and what they mean, in my book here, Chrysalis, A Metamorphosis Has Begun, this was my second book, and I chronicle all of my nightmares and dreams for probably about 10-15 years, and I analyzed them all, kept a book by my bed. I woke up, I wrote them down, I analyzed them all, and wrote down what they meant to me, and they were a guide that helped me get through the post-traumatic stress. Your dreams tell you a lot about who you are and what's going on with your life. And I put all that into this book. 10 years worth of dreams and analysis are in this book. So if you're interested and want to find out a little bit more about that and how I did what I did and how I used my dreams, I highly recommend checking this book out. And in order, if you want to check any of those out, you can go to my website, like I said, robertsiraki.com. There is absolutely nothing for sale on my website. Everything there is free. I have my weekly inspirational page there. So every week before I do my radio show, I do a new weekly inspirational quote. I put that there and I leave it there for a week. I have all of my YouTube videos are on my videos page on my website. So you can go there and watch any of my videos. I also have Robert's radio show page, and there's instructions there on how to listen to my show live and also how to listen to all of my past shows. I have them there in perpetuity, so you can listen to them as many times as you want, whenever you want, whatever is convenient for you. I talk about on my radio show a lot of the same things that I talk about on YouTube and other different things as well, mostly having to do with healing and having a happy, successful life. So with that, I'd like to leave you with my famous saying, which is each and every day, take time to heal, become inspired, move forward, and be successful with your life. Thank you for taking the time to listen, and I hope this helped you, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.